Hi, I'm Kayla Golden, and this is Octavia E. Butler. To start off, the Harlem Renaissance was a movement that allowed Black writers, artists to express their identities and tell their own stories in a new way. It focused on culture, pride, and challenging how Black people were represented in society. Even though Octavia E. Butler wrote after the Harlem Renaissance, 1910 to 1930, her work reflects many of the same Renaissance ideas. She is not only telling stories about Black women, but also allowing them to lead in her books. Because of this, Octavia E. Butler continues the legacy of the Renaissance by using science fiction to explore Black identity, challenging racial stereotypes, reclaiming Black history, and representing African Americans. One way I explored this idea of her continuing the legacy of the Harlem Renaissance is through her book, Kindred. This novel tells the story of Dana, a Black woman who was repeatedly transported back in time through the era of slavery. In Butler's novel, she not only focuses on Black experience, but she forces the character and the reader to confront the brutal reality of slavery. This reflects the Harlem Renaissance because Harlem Renaissance writers worked to reclaim Black lives and tell Black stories from their own perspective. One moment in the novel Kindred that stood out to me was,
"Why are you mad? Your mother always calls Black people niggers, Ruth?" "Sure, except when she has company. Why not?" His air of innocent questioning confused me. Either he really didn't know what he was saying, or he had a career waiting in Hollywood. Whichever it was, he wasn't going to go on saying it to me. "I'm a Black woman, Ruth. If you have to call me something other than my name, that's it."
this quote not only speaks for the past, it also speaks for the present. Another source that I pulled to support my claim that Octavia E. Butler continued on the legacy of the Harlem Renaissance is her journal, Positive Obsession. In this essay, she talks about the challenges she faced as a Black woman. I quote, "At that time, I was one of the few Black science fiction writers, and I was a woman in a field dominated by men." She also claimed she had no encouragement, faced a lot of discouragement and rejection. Butler's essay highlights perspective, self-belief, and the importance of being heard, all of which connects to the goals of the Harlem Renaissance. Through her personal experience, she shows that the fight for representation and identity is ongoing. This reinforces the idea that she continues many of the traditions from the Harlem Renaissance, not only through her themes, but also through her determination to create space for herself and others. Even though Octavia E. Butler wrote around 1970 to 2006, she is continuing on the legacy by giving voice to identity, history, journeys of modern new Negroes. And just by her doing that directly connects to the Harlem Renaissance. Because of writers like Alan Locke and his concept of New Negro, Langston Hughes and his poetry, Claude McKay with his book If We Must Die, these writers of the Harlem Renaissance, just like Octavia E. Butler, explored identity, reclaiming Black history, and taking away negative stereotypes on African Americans. Through her novel Kindred, her essay Positive Obsession, and her interviews and even modern adaptations of her work, Butler expands the idea that was first established during the Harlem Renaissance. This shows that the impact of the Harlem Renaissance is still present today and continues to influence how Black stories are told and understood. Thank you for watching me paint Octavia E. Butler.